Bill O'Reilly here. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Coming up next, the news with Mike Slater.
Thank you, Bill. It is Friday, March 10th, 2023. Here's what's happening today in America. Biden's budget explodes, but not as much as the cartel's budget. Mitch McConnell hospitalized, and a college basketball game has never been stopped for this reason before. That's all coming up, and then Bill will be here with the message of the day. But first, Joe Biden's budget is $1.1 trillion more than last year's insane budget. The top tax rate is going to go back to what it was before Trump cut them, so from 37% back up to 39.6%. The Obamacare tax increase will go from 3.8% to 5% on investment income. The corporate income tax will go from 21% to 28%, and the big one is the doubling of the capital gains tax from 20% to 39.6%. But don't worry, it's all only on the rich, they always say. The Republicans in the House say the proposal is DOA. You're not getting rich, but the cartels sure are. New York Times reporting a Department of Homeland Security report that says the cartels in 2018 from human smuggling made $500 million a year. That was in 2018. Now they're making $13 billion. That's a 2,600% increase in just 5 years. Business is good for the cartels. Ted Cruz said Joe Biden becoming president is the best thing that ever happened to the Mexican drug cartels. Mitch McConnell was at a dinner event on Wednesday night at a D.C. hotel when he tripped and fell and got a concussion. He's been in the hospital. He's 81 years old. Dianne Feinstein just got out of the hospital for shingles. She's 89. When are we going to have a conversation on whether or not it's wise to have people in their 80s and 90s run our country? John Fetterman, the senator from Pennsylvania, he's been hospitalized as well. So the Democrats are down a bunch of people. Actually, because the Democrats are down so many people, Kamala Harris, the vice president, has had to be the tie-breaking vote. Actually, she's about to break the record for the most tie-breaking votes in the Senate. The record is held by John C. Calhoun in the 1820s with 31. Kamala's tied for number 2 with Vice President John Adams. The college basketball conference tournaments are underway. In the Big 12 tournament, number 10 Baylor was playing Iowa State in the quarterfinals. And late in the second half, play stopped. For a reason I've never seen before, there was a nail protruding from the court. The game had to be stopped until the guy with the hammer could come and knock it back in. I've never seen that before. Selection Sunday for March Madness is this Sunday, March 12th. I'm Mike Slater, host of the podcast Politics by Faith, and the great Bill O'Reilly will be here next with your message of the day.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-925-7584 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-925-7584. That's 800-925-7584. What do you have to lose? Call 800-925-7584. Again, 800-925-7584.
Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. On this Friday, we are still waiting for President Biden to comment on the 2 African Americans killed by Mexican cartel thugs. I guess the president is mulling over a response. It's not easy because Mr. Biden has essentially ignored the colossal lawlessness that is happening at the border for the past 2 years. The issues are clear. Millions of migrants crossing illegally into the USA, tons of dangerous drugs pouring in and killing Americans, violent Mexican gangsters terrorizing people on both sides of the border. This is a federal problem, but Joe Biden has no solution and doesn't seem to care very much that 4 Americans were brutalized in Matamoros just this week. Black Lives Matter, Mr. President? All 4 were African American. Throughout our history, we the people have experienced bad leadership. Presidents Millard Fillmore, Franklin Pierce, Herbert Hoover, and worst of all, James Buchanan. Joseph Biden is trying hard to crack that lineup. I think he will eventually make it. But in the meantime, what are we to think of a president who simply ignores ongoing catastrophes? A man who has destroyed border security. It's so strange and frustrating, especially if you or family members have been victimized. Do something, Joe Biden. Don't just sit there. I'm Bill O'Reilly. I approve the message by writing it. You can reach me, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, name and town if you wish to opine. Let's go to the mail. John, why can't someone cut through the bull and say that the cause of any illegal entry to the Capitol on January 6th was failure to provide adequate police protection? No. Okay? The police were caught by surprise. They should not have been. There were enough warnings that the Capitol Police should have known this was coming. You are correct. That wasn't the cause. The cause was a number of demonstrators wanting to siege the Capitol of the United States in an illegal manner. That was the cause. Lena, O'Reilly says with 40,000 hours of video boiled down to a few minutes, just about any point could be made. Isn't that what the January 6th hearings did? No, they did far worse. Those hearings ignored any exculpatory evidence, didn't even get into the security breakdown. It was a farce. Lena, they were worse, okay, than what's going on now. Donna, concierge, remember, Democrats and Republicans can spin and cherry pick January 6th. I've concluded January 6th was a fiasco. Absolutely. Absolutely a fiasco on almost every level. Susan, the vast majority of folks who entered the Capitol on January 6th were peaceful. The fact of the matter is that the building belongs to the citizens and they had every right to enter it, especially when invited in by the Capitol Police. All due respect, Susan. You're wrong. Number one, the Capitol was closed to visitors that day. Number two, the Capitol Police did not invite anybody in. Once the windows, barriers, and doors were breached, the order was to de-intensify. That's why you saw the Capitol Police walking around with people. They were trying to bring it down. They didn't invite them in. Okay? Number three, all of the protesters violated the law. They had no right to be there. In a moment, something you might not know. The chairman of the Fed is promising more pain ahead. Last year, stocks dropped 20%, and this year could be worse. You are right to be worried. So please call the only precious metal dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. They'll show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. Since I have been a client and spokesperson, the price of gold has appreciated more than 35%. So please call today and they'll have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your IRA or 401k. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you, and they will give you up to $5,000 of free silver on your first order. Please call 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD GOLD to 65532. Again, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Now the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. 147 years ago today, the first telephone call was placed between Alexander Graham Bell and his assistant. Though the distance between the two men was just 15 feet, the technology would forever change the human communication business. Here is the story. The Scottish-born Bell moved to Canada in 1871, then on to Boston. The next year, he opened his own school for training teachers of the deaf. In his free time, Alexander Graham Bell experimented with sound waves and became convinced it would be possible to transmit speech over a wired system. He then enlisted the aid of a local mechanic, Thomas Watson, and together the two spent months building the first telephone. They designed a device to transmit speech vibrations electronically between two receivers, and in June 1875 tested the invention. No words were transmitted, just sounds like bells and musical instruments. 8 months later, Bell filed a U.S. patent application for his invention. On March 10th, 1876, the first discernible speech was transmitted over a telephone system. Bell called Watson, who was waiting in a neighboring office. His sentence, "Mr. Watson, come here. I want you." The first telephone call. In May, Bell publicly demonstrated the invention before the American Academy of Arts and Sciences in Boston, and in June at the Centennial Exposition in Philadelphia. In October, he successfully tested his telephone over a 2-mile distance between Boston and Cambridge, Massachusetts. Alexander Graham Bell continues his experiments for the rest of his life. He died in 1922 at the age of 75. And here's something else you might not know. At the time of his patent, Bell believed it would take more than 50 years to install telephones throughout the country. He was wrong. The system spanned from Boston to Los Angeles by the turn of the 20th century. 25 years in the making. Hello? Back after this.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-372-2017. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-372-2017. 800-372-2017. 800-372-2017.
Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.